Hey there. I want to talk a little bit today about Hey There, Delilah. Great song for beginners, or slightly past beginners, but it's a very simple picking pattern, mostly simple chords, although they're not as simple as A minors and Ds and Gs and stuff. Some of them are. But I like to have beginning students take a look at this. So here's a little bit of what you can work on first to get the hang of it. You do have to be able to play partial bar chords. You don't have to be able to play full bar chords yet for this song. That's why it's still kind of a beginning to intermediate song. But you do have to be able to play chords that have partial bars in them. The first chord is D, which you can of course play as a normal D chord like this. We'll come back to that in a second. The second chord, though, is a small F sharp minor. This is played with your first finger across the first three strings at the second fret. So this is what I'm calling a partial bar chord. So for this F sharp minor, you do have to make a bar here. In other lessons I'll talk more specifically about how to do this. It should not look like this, not like a full bar. You're trying to do this with what we call a hinge. But so your first finger is barred across three strings, and then your third finger is reaching to the fourth fret of the fourth string for a half an F sharp minor chord. Same chord shape you'd have to be able to play the opening to Stairway to Heaven. We'll explore that one in another lesson too. But anyway, so this F sharp minor chord, because it has to be played with a bar, it's a really good idea to play the D chord at the beginning with a bar. So I can play a D with one finger across three strings, and then my second finger on the third fret of the second string on the note D, and then I'm in really good shape to get to this F sharp minor. I only have to move a couple fingers. So as soon as you can play this half bar, it makes the beginning of the song very easy. Now the picking with the right hand consists of your thumb hitting the bass note for whatever chord you're going to play. The first two chords, they're both hit on the fourth string. Then these two fingers are always plucking, your index finger playing the third string and your middle finger playing the second string. More finger picking songs have your third finger as well playing the first string. This song doesn't even ever hit that string, so it's all done with two fingers. Matter of fact, you could play this song without your first string even on the guitar. Opposite of Keith Richards style in those open G tunings. Anyway, so this D chord, you're always going thumb and then plucking these two notes together on the second and third string. So I'm hitting my thumb on the D string, and then my index and middle fingers playing the second and third strings. And these two fingers do all the work in this song along with your thumb. So when I do that on D, and again, I can play the D normally if I want, and if I did that, I wouldn't even want to have my second finger on this chord because I'm not even hitting that string. So I'd have just these two fingers on the D, my index finger and my third finger. Sound like this. And then I'd move to the F sharp minor. Now again, notice it'll be less work if I play the D like this, with the bar. All I have to do is move, take one finger off and put one on. Hi, I want to talk, here's a little bit more on Hey There, Delilah as far as some of the other chords go. Hopefully we've already been working on the D to F sharp minor. That finger picking pattern where you're always hitting bass notes with your thumb and then the second and third strings with your index and middle fingers. So that's D to F sharp minor. Then the next chord in the song is B minor. You do not need to play this big old B minor like this because you're not going to play half of these strings. You're only going to play three strings on this chord, so you only need to put down the three notes you need. Big key to a lot of finger-picking songs. Don't play any more than you have to. So for this B minor, I like to have people play it with their first finger on the B, not playing a bar, just on the second fret of the fifth string, and then your second finger on the D, which is on the third fret of the second string, and then your third finger on the fourth fret of the third string, which is on B. That's the three notes we need. You're going to hit those three times. The bass is going to come off to an open A because it's passing to the next chord, which is a G chord. All you need for this G chord is one finger. Just put your third finger on G, keep the other ones out of the way. Not this far out of the way, I'm just trying to make sure you can see that. It should look about like this. You've got the rest of your fingers close to the frets, ready to keep playing, but you're only really pressing down on one note. To an A chord, you really want to play this A with a bar. We call this a hinge bar. A hinge bar is any time you've got your bar with that type of bend in it. Sorry, I can't show you this very well, my other fingers are in the way. But a hinge bar is not having a bar like this, which is a full bar. So what I call a hinge bar is a bar that has your finger bent like this, and you're only playing some of the strings. In the case of, at the beginning of this song, we're playing a D chord like that. We're playing this D with a hinge because I'm covering only 3 strings, and I've got my second finger on the second string in the middle of the other 2. That puts me in perfect position to get to the F sharp minor without doing a lot of work. We talked more about that in the first part of this lesson. Anyway, now we're at an A chord, and this A, you want to learn to play A like that. There are lots of other good fingerings for A. My favorite for a normal A is using these 3 fingers with my first finger in the middle. We'll talk about that in other lessons too. But this A, you want to play with a bar across the second, third, and fourth strings, and you're not worried about the first string. It doesn't matter if the first string is open and clean, or if it sounds like this, or if it even sounds like this, because you're not playing that note. But the 3 that you are playing have to be clear. Well, that was 4, but we're only playing 3 of them. The 3 we're playing are the open A in the bass, and the second and third strings up here with my index and middle fingers. So on the A, I keep the same pattern going, and then for the last 2 beats of A, I add a high E up here on the 5th fret of the second string. So that whole little section from the B minor went back to B minor, to A, and here's where I add my little finger. Okay? So that's all the bits and pieces that happen in here. Here it is one time through kind of slowly. We've got the D, to the F sharp minor, back to D, back to F sharp minor, B minor, open A in the bass, G, A, B minor again, 4 beats to A, and after 2 beats add your little finger. And then into the next verse. The chorus to the song, as I recall, just is 4 beats of D, but on the 4th beat it adds an A in the bass. So we've got the D hit 3 times. Going to B minor, 3 beats, and on the 4th beat the bass passes to C sharp. We call that a passing tone because it's going from B to C sharp on its way back up to the D. So we have this. I think that's most of the song. There's probably a little bit more, but I have to go back and listen to it, and I'd rather just keep making videos of songs that I kind of have. So, Hey There Delilah, cool tune by the Plain White T's from pretty recently, 5 or 6 years ago now. And good song for beginners. Once you can play this really well, you're heading towards being an intermediate guitar player. So keep up the good work.